y'all? This is Market Explainer. We are America's #1 business news podcast. Well, I want to tell you about workinghomestuff.com. As you know, a lot more people are working from home, and you're going to need stuff to help you do that. Stuff like chairs and desks. My website, workinghomestuff.com, helps you pick out the right chair and desk for your situation as everyone continues to work from home. And God bless, hey, you can start a side hustle while you're doing your regular job.
Hey, it's 2021. Everybody should be working from home, even if they don't work from home, because everyone should have a side hustle. Everybody should have. I'm sorry to tell you that, but that's why I like the work from home website Danny has, is because everybody should be prepared to work from home, whether you do or not.
All right, so let me just really quick get my tinfoil out and make a hat for this next one.
I wish I had prepared and got a tinfoil hat I could put on top of my cowboy hat. I wish I would have. This is one of those Danny stories where...
This is not a Danny story. This is from The Verge. It's not even from marketexplainer.com. It's not even from our own website. So it's not like I'm pitching some wild story here.
People that know you and have watched this podcast know what I call a Danny story. Right. That's usually when you put your tinfoil hat on, metaphorically speaking, talk about your conspiracy theories and where things could be going.
Right.
And go ahead.
Yeah. More correct than incorrect, as I like to say. I'm more correct than the New York Times. Sure. Apple says that Arizona and Georgia, along with Connecticut, Iowa, Maryland, and Oklahoma, and Utah, will adopt state IDs on the iPhone. So the iPhone's wallet will now let you put your ID right on the wallet, so you're not actually further creating a situation where, this little tracking device that you keep in your pocket becomes necessary to go in anywhere.
Danny, you all know, or you probably should know, Danny curates most of the stories that we do, right? I send him things that I'm interested in, but Danny kind of decides what 4 stories we talk about from week to week, right? And as he puts them on the show notes for me to do my research for my side, he names these stories himself about what he's thinking about. And the name for this particular story this week, or on this last story, is I'm Sure Nothing Could Go Wrong. That's the name that
nothing could go wrong
for the Apple story, right? Having your driver's license and all the information that the DMV collects on you on your iPhone or your phone in general seems, what's the word I'm looking for? Intrusive, right?
Yeah.
It seems...
Okay. Here's the other part, too. The TSA said it will allow select airports to use this as a verified system of identification, and it will open separate lanes. So we're going to further delineate the haves and have-nots for people like me who use Android very happily, who don't have Android ID, or Apple ID rather, and they're going to be like, well, you have Clear, you can just walk in, you have TSA pre-check, I have Apple ID.
Okay, here's where, sometimes a good conspiracy theory has just enough truth, right, to make things work. And here's where I can see a lot of people going with this conspiracy theory is any good, I want to take something from you, right, especially information, has in the beginning, a benefit to you, right? So if I was a conspiracy theorist and I wanted to say something like, well, this is just an attempt for the government to be gathering your data, for example, you have to have a benefit to you up front to get you to do it, right?
Right.
Because why go through the process? Because this is a process. And they say in the article, it's not just as simple as taking a picture of your driver's license and having that on your phone. It literally is a digital ID. There's going to be a process that is going to take time for you to scan your ID. It goes to your state to be verified. Yep. You have to take self-portraits. You have to do this. There's a checklist of things that you have to do so that it becomes a true virtual ID. Now, Apple is also saying, they're saying, quote unquote, because I don't know who verifies that people do what they say they're going to do. But Apple is saying that this is essentially kept in a virtual wallet. meaning they don't have access to it, nobody has access to it, and then when you use it, for example, like TSA,
right.
it will not communicate with Apple that you're using it with TSA.
Right.
It won't communicate with anybody else. It only communicates directly with the device that is verifying it. Now,
Right.
again, I'm saying this is what they are saying. What happens, I have no idea. But that's what they're saying.
So, can I just put on a tinfoil hat, the invisible tinfoil hat, and give my conspiracy version of what's going to happen?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
I have your permission. Okay. The government, the police, whomever, when they pull you over, they are interested in being able to access your phone without your permission, right? You, as an American citizen, have this thing called the Fifth Amendment right where you don't have to incriminate yourself.
Correct.
However, when a police officer, this is much debated in legal circles, when they drive past your car, they see your car, go, oh, your license plate is expired. Now they have just cause to start looking at your car. They can look in your car. Your windows are too dark. Well, now you have to open up your door. You have to start telling them what's going on, so forth and so on.
Sure.
Well, they want to get into your phone, and they've been situations where the government says you have to let us into your phone, but it has a fingerprint lock or a passcode, and they can't just open it and deal with the legal ramifications later because, hey, if you're poor, what are you going to do? Sue them? You don't have the opportunity to do that.
Right.
So they want a reason to get into your phone. So now if you pop your phone open and give them your ID on your phone, well, they get to see you punch in a code. They get to see you do whatever. And now they can go, oh, what are these text messages to this guy? Why are you talking about units of measurement in the metric system? You're in America. Why would you say you want a gram of corn or whatever you're talking about? Right? So this is just an excuse. This is not a political show. We're a business show. This is a business, doing business with the government, which is supposed to protect your rights. But they're just saying, hey, we just want to, we just need to see your ID. It's on your phone. This is another reason why I use Android and I actually have a phone with Graphene OS so that, Google's not reading my stuff.
Well, but look, if this was to catch on, Android would just end up being as well, right?
Yes,
so
of course.
So it's not like that would only save you for a while. Look, I go back to what I say about most conspiracy theories, right? Most ways of that way of thinking is twofold. One, if in the current state of 2021, if the United States government or the Russian government or anybody else wants to know about you, it doesn't matter whether you have your ID on your phone or not. So,
100% agree.
So why would they go through all of that trouble just to get access to what they already have access to?
No,
because what you're talking about is Joe Bob, right? Bobstown PD, right? You're not talking about the United States government or the CIA or the FBI or what.
No,
they already get whatever they want, right? So
they already got it.
So Joe Bob's PD doesn't have the ability to come up with this conspiracy theory. That's my point, right?
No, and I agree with you. Now, I'm just saying, if you want to know what the conspiracy theory is, that's what it is.
Well, here's the other, the conspiracy theory that I would step toward, and I say step toward, even though because it doesn't make sense again, is the more information we digitize, the less information that people in general that utilize that technology keep, right? And now we move more and more to a world that we don't carry a driver's license anymore. So you don't carry an ID anymore. You don't carry, and now we're in a world where nobody carries anything. I mean, money's already pretend, right? It's already ones and zeros on the computer, right? Because none of us carry cash anymore or whatever. And you rely more and more on this digitized type of world, and then something goes wrong, like Hurricane Ida, for example, right? And what do you do if you lived in New Orleans or parts of New York City or all these other states that it kind of went through? What do you do for 2 weeks if your credit card doesn't work because there's no internet access, because there's no electricity? So that is that would be a conspiracy theory that I would step toward. However, the answer to that is the same thing, right? We live in a world that if they want access to, they're going to gain access to, right?
Yeah.
So we live in a world where you can drive 60 minutes and check into a hotel, even though all of that happened in your, right?
Yeah.
So if the world keeps spinning in the current way it's spinning, I think it's inevitable.
Right.
If the world doesn't, however, that's where you get into the problems. Right? Because there is a future in my children's future that they will probably not carry anything but this. There'll be no wallet. There'll be no wallet with pictures in it. Not that there isn't anymore. There'll be nothing that you carry with you anymore except for whatever this is, and you know what I mean, in the future. That's it.
No, I agree. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, even though you call me one all the time. I'm just saying I'm not interested in that future. I'm a technology guy. I love tech, right? I love the convenience it offers. I'm just the guy saying, don't think I want to have my phone for everything.
Here's the real fear for people, right? And they even mention it in this article. There's a program called Real ID, right?
Yeah.
That essentially passed a couple of years ago, where the federal government has told states that there are certain things that are required on a driver's license, right? And there's certain security features that you have to have on your driver's license, right? For example, here in Texas, even if you had a valid Texas ID, it was originally supposed to go into effect September of last year, but I think they pushed it back because of last year.
2023.
Where everyone had to go back into the DMV and get an updated driver's license because of the updated security features and blah, 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 blah. And when you get your new Texas ID, you can see that on your picture, there's this little bubble that is 100% used for facial ID, right?
Yeah.
On driver's license and stuff like that. It's literally on there. They're not even hiding it, right?
No, of course not. Yeah.
It's one of their updated security protection, blah, blah, blahs. So what they're afraid of is they turn around and you are not only digitizing all of this information, that you're digitizing it for the use of the federal government, right? Which right now they're saying is not, but that's what the conspiracy theories work, is the government is basically saying they not only want to be able to track you and everything, but they want all of your information too.
So what's interesting is those Real IDs, I think you can still get the regular license, but what happens is it's much harder to cross international border. Like if you're trying,
you can't get a passport. You can't go to Mexico with an old Texas driver's license whenever they punched it down the line.
You can't even fly in the United States without a Real ID. I, as someone who's traveled internationally frequently or had in the past, have a passport. Well, you could just use your passport, right? You don't need to go get I didn't get the Real ID. I just travel with a passport card now, you know? So
well, and you can do that if you have a passport, right? And that's what you're willing to do. But again, that's what we keep doing, is we functionally change society, that it makes it more difficult to function in this society if you don't have these perks, right? If you don't have these processes. You see enough people, you stand in enough long lines at an airport, and you see these people. And I guarantee you they'll put it right next to the main line because they want you to see it. They want you to see the people walking through going bling, 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 bling. They want you to see it because you stand in a line at Chicago O'Hare, right? Or LAX or DFW for long enough and see those people going bling, bling, bling. You will eventually in line. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Right? Yeah. Because that's what it's about, right? They want you to see how easy it is, and then eventually most of us subside. You know how long it took my old to even get onto smartphones?
You were a late adopter.
Because it was I didn't understand. This was just something that was going to break, right? Yeah. It was a screen. I didn't understand the whole, wait a minute, there's no keyboard. Like I went from flip phones to the quirky keyboard phones. Remember the slide out and I had a little keyboard on it? I had those for years before I got into smartphones because I liked the fact that it had a keyboard, right? Once I got into texting and stuff like that. So getting people on board with this kind of thing, it feels weird.
Yes.
It feels weird, but maybe that's just what it is.
I want to go on record saying it's Apple making you feel that way. So
I think Apple, whether it was Apple, Android, or anyone else, I think this is a logical step. Apple just happens to be a company that was like, hey, we'll take this on, right?
Hey,
here's a partner. They're probably doing it for next to nothing, or they may even be giving these states money, right? Which a lot of these states out there will make these kind of partnerships because that business agrees to give them, right? Whatever. Right. There's a lot of states out there, and these are some of them that will partner on almost anything because they pay to have these partnerships. Right. Apple wants to be the first one to figure this out. So they may be shoving millions of dollars into these states.
For all we know.
And these states could be needing that money because there's a lot of states out there that do.
Right.
So I don't look, I think this is one of those stories that feels weird, but everything felt weird. If you told a person in 1975 that everybody was going to carry around their bank account, their money, their everything in a little box that fit in your pocket that had a computer chip in it, it would freak them out.
Of course.
But in today's world, all those old folks have phones anyway. You know what I mean? And everything else. So I think it's something that feels weird. I don't see any way around it. I think it's just, it is.
Yeah, and I said, listen, I just explained what my theory was on the conspiracies, but that's just my theory on what the theory is, right? Who knows what actually happened?
Look, anybody that says they're worried about what the government has access to, if that's anybody's argument and they have a cell phone, I don't take you seriously.
Of course not.
Yeah. Right? Now, if you're telling me you have a fear of the government having any information about you,
and you have
no cell phone, you have no bank account, then I'm here to listen, right? Yeah. But if you're standing on whatever you're standing on, talking about how the government wants your data, your whatever, and you're recording it on this, I'm sorry, you're recording it on a computer. You got a webcam in front of you.
They already got too much.
They already got everything they need on you, brother.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They got it all.
You've already given in. You might as well go all the way. But that's just my opinion, the big man opinion. Yeah. As always, that is my opinion, not the express of Market Explainer. But,
that's right.
You know.
Hey, before we cut you guys loose for this episode, I just want to say one thing. People say things can't buy happiness, but those people are buying the wrong things.
I am down for that. I used to believe that, but no, it is. Have you ever seen somebody unhappy on a Sea-Doo? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. All right, folks. We'll see you next time.
All right, brother.